Well, hello, my lovelies. We're going to be talking about more major OMG red flags. OMG, OMG. Yeah, like I did a serious deep dive. So, welcome to 1111. Happy to be here with you. Wish we were covering a case that wasn't about children. Unfortunately, it is. Now, in the Lindsay Clancy case, it isn't even being brought up in court in any way that there's another suspect. It's just Lindsay. And the question that they're actually going to trial over was she sane when she committed these crimes of, taking out her 3 babies? Or was she having a serious psychosis? And I begin to look at everything else. A lot of people are. There's some major, what moments that make you wonder, how does that work? And so I've got over 15 to share with you. And I did my research. I dug into what everybody is showing and talking about, all the little bits and pieces. And the entire video is going to go from one to the next. It's like a top 15 red flags. And unfortunately, they all look towards Patrick. Now, I'm not saying he's guilty at all. Lindsay herself in her civil suit is saying, that she remembers what she said and how her mind was. And she said, go be with God to the children, but is she truly mentally ill and have been convinced that she did this? Some people are suggesting that Lindsay Clancy is starting to realize during the trial what has happened. So we're going to get into it. And y'all hang on, because this is an intense deep dive. Okay, so let's get over here. Hope you're all doing well. Hi, Wayne. Good to see you. Jennyville, Danny, Seeking Justice, Smudger in the house, Nick UK. How's everybody doing? Nina's here, Seeking Justice. Welcome to all of you. Let me put it on live chat. And welcome to my absolutely beautiful replay crew. You guys, let's get into this. I will say before, I know I'm back and forth, what's going on? Before we jump in with both feet here, I did intense coverage. So we're going to be breaking this down to just look at all this and consider all the details as we know them. All right. Now, I did a lot of trial clips in this to show you where I'm coming from. So more major OMG red flags, you guys. And the first one are the suspicious Googles. So on day 13, Patrick Clancy, in day 13 of the trial, they talked about Patrick Clancy, the ex-husband, signing into Lindsay's Facebook, the mother's Facebook, and looked up ways to check out. Okay? So let's listen to what the trial had to say.
The artifact is indicating that there's a title with an email. What's the name?
Hopefully you can hear it good.
rickclancy@gmail.com.
So that's fair to say that would be Patrick.
Hold on, y'all.
That's his email that's signed in on Lindsay's Facebook.
I can't confirm that.
Okay. Different topics such as suicide, drugs, killing kids, I imagine, to investigate, right? You had buzzwords.
Yes, sir.
And did you come across, for example, a search that indicates carotid artery?
I don't recall.
Did you come across a search on safari how to slit your throat to die?
I don't recall.
Did you come across a search, can you turn airbags off on Kia Sorento?
I don't recall.
Now, if you want, you could be like, well, how do we know that just because the husband's email address was used to sign into Lindsay's account and Google these horrific themed things, like that's the name, that's the brand of Lindsay's car. A Kia Sonora. That's her car. She has a black one. So how to disable airbags, how to your throat. What if I told you that this setting of events that's being searched through Lindsay's Facebook account, actually Lindsay isn't even home. She actually had a doctor's appointment for one of the children and isn't even in the home when this person signs in and begins to use her account to look into all these very alarming things. So if this is back in August, which is 7 months, I think it'd be 7 months before this happens, why on earth would the ex, if he did, log into her account while she's at the doctor's office with her children and look up ways to slit, right? That's foreshadowing, because that's what happens to her right side of her throat. And looking up the bridge that is local to them, from my understanding, it's not far away from them, that a famous musician used to jump. Why would the husband be doing that? I don't know, y'all. Roofer Roofer says, I believe Lindsay just believes what she was told she did by others. I believe she was too over-medicated to pull this off. Someone has framed her, in your opinion. I mean, let's go on and continue on so you can hear more. Now pay attention to this. He's a little long-winded, but at the same time, this provides the proof that Lindsay wasn't even in the home while these atrocious, alarming type of searches are being done.
Would be correct.
So then in October of 25, the district attorney's office asked you to conduct a search of the computer, apparently. Is that right?
The trooper in the Plymouth State Police Detective would be correct.
So then in October of 25, the district attorney's office asked you to conduct a search of the computer, apparently. Is that right?
The trooper in the Plymouth State Police Detective Unit reached out.
And that would be McElligan, right?
No, it was not.
Okay. Do you know who it was?
Trooper Justin Paul.
Justin Paul.
Correct.
Okay. And as a result of that, you then prepared your report. And one of the things that you did is you noted that on August 23rd of 2022.
August 23rd.
At 9:40 and 08 seconds, that there was an access to the Lindsay Facebook account, right?
Oh, there was a visit to that page, correct.
Right. And then that page continued on to look for Tom Hall and Walking to Memphis or whatever and the songs, right?
Yes.
On Spotify?
Yeah, the song. Yes, after that was a Spotify.
And then the time frame of that would be that you went to a hyperlink that took them to methods of suicide. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, were there any searches on that computer for example, ways to kill?
No, there was not.
To your knowledge, and I understand that you might be stuck with what you investigated, but are you aware that there were any searches from Lindsay Clancy or Patrick Clancy on ways to kill? You ever heard that?
In my initial report back in October, that contains all of the evidence artifacts that I had tagged as evidence and provided. I did not come across that, no.
Right. So basically, what you are leaving with the jury would be that on that date of August 23rd, at approximately 9:40 in the morning, and then carrying forward with jumping from Tom Hall to the Wikipedia account to the underlined name, suicide, jumping to that page, that all occurred between 9:40 and, say, 10 o'clock in the morning, right?
Okay. All right. So the account is actually the email of the husband that is being used to log in. Like logging into Lindsay's account, but using the husband's Gmail account. There are so many things that he's looking up, including he's a musician. He knows how to play several instruments. And for a while there, he was listening to Tom Hall. But it's so weird because he leans into it a little bit, and he clicks on a link that takes him into how Tom Hall ended things, and then other things he starts looking for while Lindsay's at the doctor's office with her child, with one of the 3 children. So months before, he's actually looking up ways to, how do you shut the airbags off in a car? Jumping off a bridge? Slicing one's own. Y'all, you feel me? That's just so weird. Boss lady, welcome to Private Eyes. Love you. Thank you so much for joining us. Jojo says day 13. Gotta love attorney Kevin Reddington and his gigantic blow-up poster boards admitting into evidence. Totally original, old school. He doesn't want the 19 jurors to forget. Yeah, he always brings these big poster boards and he's like, do you remember this? Yeah. True train coming through. Oh, well, welcome back, boss lady. This case has kicked up your feminine rage, Lolo. Riff and Riffer loves Kevin Reddington. He will win this case, in your opinion. The new case in Philly, like Rex Humerman case, Linging Crazy. Lola says, anyone see the new wife wearing the all-seeing eye shirt? Says a lot in your opinion. Okay, I mean, the new wife is like a doppelganger of Lindsay, so that's striking. And she was a Nick nurse, and now the new wife is a fertility doctor. It's like, are you kidding? Like, he tried to upgrade, it feels like, or something. You got stuck on there something about Patrick? I agree. Let's look at this. So one of you were talking about this left-handed, right-handed thing. Let's start off with who crushed the pills that they would use because kids. If you're checking out, like you're checking out, I don't think that the mother would have used because kids cup. It's almost as if somebody was like, oh, we're gonna set it up so meaningful that it's not even questioned that it's the mother. It's just the whole because kids, and that's where it's crushed up. And look how neatly everything is laid down, even though this was a very vicious. Why would, if she did that to herself with with the knife, why would she put it back up neatly when the room's a total disarray, the bed's moved and everything? I'm just saying, there it sits right there in plain view for everybody to find. Why would it not be on the floor where she did it? I don't understand this. I'm going to be tidy even though I'm checking out. You know what I'm saying? It's just weird. All right, let's continue. So who crushed the pills. And Lindsay's toxicology showed that she had double the amount of like a medication that makes you extremely tired, enough to work like a sedative in her. Now, when they do toxicology, she had already lost a lot of blood. So who knows how much had really been put in her. And everybody's assuming that she crushed up the pills, gave them to the kids, and then took some herself. But could it have been slipped in all of their food? Even though that Patrick's going out to get food, maybe there was some snacking going on, or even drinks, or something got given to the family. I don't know, but I find it strange. And then as we get into this, why are Lindsay's prints, so we're on like the third one, why are Lindsay's prints not on the knife? What? Lindsay Clancy'S trial is wrapping up in the second week, though some people who are following the case have been left with more questions than answers. As evidence is being presented in front of Massachusetts jury, there are some things that have stood out to the public, causing confusion. One piece of evidence in particular has caused a stir on social media. A forensic testimony revealed that Lindsay Clancy'S fingerprints were not found on the exercise bands that were used to strangle the 3 children. Moreover, her fingerprints were also not recovered from the knife that she allegedly used to make the incisions on her throat and arms. Okay? So, anybody? Lola says, I'm so glad so many of us see through the deception. Something. I mean, just something here. How are her prints not on the very knife that she used? That's a big thing to me. So let's look at this picture. Let me see if we can actually move this up. Yeah, let's look at this picture. So in the crime scene evidence photo, which I did crop so that we could focus on just the weapon, I want you to pay attention to this little clip, how somebody is showing you the right hand, how you would set it down versus the left hand. So let's go ahead and watch this. So if you're right-handed, you would put it facing the left. But if you're left-handed, you would put it facing the right. So if you're right-handed, the blade would face left. And if you are left-handed, the blade would face right. As you can see here, look how awkward it would be. So that felt normal, but it doesn't match what the crime scene. That feels totally wrong. I don't think anybody's going to put it that way. Now, that feels right, left-handed. Turning it that way, it's awkward. It's awkward. And so you can see that the blade has a lot of BLOOD on it. However, he could have wiped it clean and then just drug it through some BLOOD. You know, there was no full investigation because everybody was like, well, this is cut and dry. But this would suggest, if we are to look at the original picture, this would logically suggest a left-handed person. Now, when you look at this, you have to remember Lindsay's not left-handed. Lindsay is a right-handed person. Lindsay is right-handed, but the knife wound on her neck, which I can't show, but I'm going to explain to it, was on the right side, and it's quite deep. And remember, while Lindsay's at the clinic back in August, somebody's looking up the carotid artery. And if you're looking for your carotid artery, It's exactly where the cut was. But remember, Lindsay can't be looking that up because she's at the doctor's office in front of everybody in the world. This is back on her Facebook that he's logged into on his Gmail account. He's looking up his favorite musician. He's looking up how to the carotid artery. And that's what happened to her. So some would speculate that if the person is going to slice, right? If they're right-handed, their right hand are going to start over here and move this way. But that isn't what happened. Why would Lindsay Clancy use her non-dominant hand and risk like not doing a good job and getting a jagged edge? And I'll tell you now, we've done so many cases that we've learned that there are usually testing sites, testing wounds, where somebody that is going to do it will make little cuts first and then do it. Okay, I'm just trying to explain. So why would she, Lindsay, have risked using her non-dominant hand over here? Because otherwise she's like this, which you're going to come away from. I mean, she's not trying to frame anybody. She's just trying to get the job done, allegedly, if we go with the narrative. So it would make absolutely no sense to use the wrong hand. So then you would ask, like I did, who's left-handed? Now, everybody and their brother said, we don't know if Patrick is left-handed or right-handed. Well, I'm going to tell you now, he definitely favors his left. And I got some things to show you. And one of them is this picture here. Let me bring it forward. Who's he holding the baby with? I mean, who? Which arm is he holding the baby right? The left. He's got the baby in his left arm. So I didn't want just one source, but you can clearly see how he's holding the baby. Okay. Let's look at this. Here's one. I researched a lot to get this stuff. So here's one. He's carrying something, and it's in his left hand when he did the marathon run. Miles for Miracles. Definitely carrying something. And his right hand is free. When he posed for a picture, bring this forward. When he posed for this picture, he could have picked either hand. And yeah, he's holding something small in the right hand. But the major thing, and a banana, is being held in the left hand. So he definitely favors his left hand. I can't say if he's left-handed or right-handed. But as you can see here, even in this trial picture, when he's thinking or whatever, he's not using his right hand. He's using his dominant hand, his left. All right. Then you're like, okay, give me one more. All right, this is the last one I got. We're going to pull it up. We'll bring it frontward. And watch this. This is actual footage of it.
Cora, Dawson, and Callan raising
right there. He's walking towards his friend.
$72,000 for Boston Children's
carrying his water bottle in
Our
his
John
left.
Atwater joins us live now. And John,
and he's going to give an interview.
It's
Pay close
heartfelt that
attention.
he ran today. I can't imagine what a conversation with him was like. What did he say after he crossed the finish line?
It was so emotional, Ed, just to speak with him. So emotional, and he was so emotional as he crossed the finish line. He had tears in his eyes as he crossed the finish line. Obviously, this coming just over a year after all of this happen, this tragedy in his family. Now we'll show you the moments after he crossed
Hey,
the
look
finish
at him
line here on
repositioning,
Boylston
wiping
Street
up
as he was
stuff
emotional. It is
up,
his
right?
first marathon, and he says it was
He wears
therapeutic
his
for him.
watch
Now, he
on
raised
his
all of that
left.
money for Boston Children's, the hospital that treated his youngest son, but sadly
So-
none of his 3 children.
Let's go back here. Constantly keeps wiping his nose with his left. I'm going to rewind it. We're going to go backwards here. Wiping his nose with his left. Let's see where he does that. Look, he's pulling on his shirt with his left. So I can't say that Patrick is left-handed, but I can say he favors his left hand very much so. For all I know, he could be ambidextrous, but he does favor the left hand a lot. And so it really makes it hard for me not to look at him and say, well, wait a minute. Why are there left-hand cuts on the wife and you're left-handed and she's right-handed? You feel me? Lola says, Patrick, about his kids, they were good people. They had a lot of friends. Okay, but why speak of them as if they were adults, Patrick? Your baby was 8 months old. What the heck? Yeah, that is very odd and awkward, says Jennyville. So that's a big deal to me, is that we've got this positioning of the weapon, and it's definitely a left-handed placement. And it's as if it was a call to a little part of the stage. Like, here's the weapon that was used. Here's the rugs that were used to do this. It's like, here's all the evidence in a nutshell. Right here, you can't miss it. Except I believe that this attacker may have been left-handed. Why on earth would Lindsay, whether she was manic or not, use her non-dominant hand to not only place the knife on the table, but also to make the cut? And it was right back here over the carotid artery. He's the one looking that crap up. It means a great deal to me. But let's continue and get into this. Right here. I got to jump down. The shoes. That's something everybody's talked about, is the shoes. So I did a little video where I slowed it down. I enlarged it so that you're just looking at shoes. And I put both the CVS and 3V restaurant footage of the shoes side by side. And I'm going to show it to you. But everybody is asking, why did Patrick Clancy change his shoes? So Patrick was sent from their home by Lindsay Clancy to run errands. In the 45 minutes he was away between visits of CVS and 3V restaurant, he changed his shoes, allegedly. Excuse me, I kind of hiccuped and burped. Pardon. It has never been explained why. Let's take a closer look at this. So here's a little clip, but I'm going to make it full screen in a minute. Just watch the one that was on the internet
TikTok detectives think that Patrick Clancy is lying and that his shoes prove it. They're claiming that Patrick wore boots to CVS and changed into sneakers before he picked up dinner from the restaurant. In this security footage of Patrick walking into CVS, you can see that he's wearing what appears to be some sort of brown boot or dress shoe. Notice how the brown shoe is completely solid brown on top and the soles, and it doesn't have any laces or design on top of the shoes. Now look at the footage of his shoes when he's entering the 3B restaurant to pick up food just 16 minutes later. These shoes appear to be some sort of tennis shoe with white laces on top of the shoe and a clearly white rubber sole bottom. Both businesses have fairly clear surveillance, and it does not appear that Patrick was wearing the same shoes at both places. This evidence has allegedly been forwarded to Lindsay Clancy's defense attorney, and hopefully he can make some sense of it. I don't know why or how Patrick could have switched his shoes in that amount of time, but I definitely think that it needs to be looked into, along with all the other inconsistencies in this case.
Okay. Let's jump over here, and I want you to see, I'm going to play it side by side for you, and then we'll do a still shot. So these are very, very close up. What I've done is I have cropped the video of the CBC drugstore as he's entering, and it's just his feet. Then I went over to the 3V restaurant and I cropped down that video to just his feet. And I took them and I put them side by side, and we're going to play them. And that way you're not flipping back and forth. Now this took a little bit of work. So make sure and hit the like button to support the channel. Okay, so you're looking at the CBC on the left. On the right, you're looking at the actual restaurant. Both are the videos. And we can play it again and again. That way you can look to see, do you think they are the same shoe? Lolo says he reminds me of Chris Watts. The whole outfit changed. A lot of people believe that too. Let's watch this one more time. Do you think those are the same shoes? Give me a 1 if you think they are the same shoes. Give me a 2 if you don't think they're the same shoes. And hit the like buttons. The kids are not alive. No. That's right. All passed. Okay. What do you think? Do you feel that? Isn't it DNA that usually to convict guilty? Yeah, there's no DNA from Lindsay. Justice is like OMG too. So you guys think they're different? I'm seeing a lot of 2s. Let's pause it right there. Take a good look. Do you believe, 1, these are the same shoes? Jan UK feels these are the same shoes. Heaven reigns in the house. Good to see you, beautiful. California in the house. Nikki, I got to get you your gift card. I got busy this weekend and I haven't had time to be on the computer much because, well, I shouldn't say I haven't been on the computer. I've been on the computer the whole time. But I was so deep in this case, I didn't take a minute. But I owe you a $20 gift card, and so I'll get that to you tomorrow. Thank you, Nikki Love, and congrats on winning. So you guys are thinking different shoes? A lot of people think it's different shoes. Jojo says it was a 10-minute drive from CBC to 3B. There's a whole outfit change. What did he change? Yeah. All right. So a lot of you are suggesting. So then the question is, why? Why did he change his shoes? Like, how could... So he's already at the store on camera in one pair, which appear to be boots. But then by the time he gets to the restaurant, he's in tennis shoes. And he even testifies that the first thing he did when he went in the house is he took off his boots. But they're clearly tennis shoes at the 3B restaurant. They do appear to be boots in the first picture. Okay. I don't know, y'all. I'm just saying a lot of people seriously feel that these are 2 different shoes. Look at this. Do you see side by side? Anyone see how alike Patrick and his best friend look? Oh, that's interesting. Jojo is asking, what, did he change his whole wardrobe in the truck? Maybe. But why do that? If you've already been in public in the first set of clothing, what are you accomplishing by changing your clothes to go to the restaurant? You feel me? Like, that doesn't make sense. Seeking Justice says people change shoes and color, but the style remains the same. Sometimes. Okay. So let's keep going, you guys, because this just gets weirder and weirder. All right. So why did Patrick Clancy have a bottle of meds in his truck? He takes a huge bag down to the sheriff and that. But then he's got another bag in his truck. And they're older meds. It really makes me think of those crushed up pills. I don't know, you guys. That's just a weird one, too. That's like number 6, right? Or 7. So, did Patrick... Okay, so at some point, Patrick's in the CVC store picking up the baby supplies, medicine that he needed, which he said they were out of, but obviously it's in the bag. So his reason to call Lindsay is gone because he obviously bought the exact kind that he said they were out of. And that was the whole reason that he called Lindsay. Or was it to establish an alibi? I don't know. But there are a lot of people wondering if this is actually Lindsay's Apple Watch in his hand. So when he enters the store, he has something in his left hand, by the way. And he talks on the phone with his left hand. So I think he's left-handed. So he's carrying something that appears to be very circular in nature, looks about that big around, and just very light. I would say it could be very easily considered white, which does match the description of Lindsay's Apple Watch. And some people are wondering, did he take Lindsay's Apple Watch so that he could call Lindsay and have control of to answer the call or not answer the call? That's weird. So let's look close at this and see what you think. Okay. The question is, what is in Patrick's left hand? What the heck is that, y'all? Okay, let's get this bigger. Okay. Let me rewind it. What in the world is that in his hand? The two. I had red flag on him within the first half hour on the stand. He's too guarded. Thank you, too. Judith says he probably went to CBC and seen blood on him. Drugs in his truck was to drug her up, in your opinion. Seeking Justice says stash them in the car so she wouldn't find them probably. Interesting thought. JoJo says because Attorney Reddington scared the crap out of him. Rippin' Ripper says, did his best friend and new wife help him pull this off? Was it really Lindsay on the phone to the pharmacy in the restaurant or another female, allegedly? Please remember, Jennyville says, to use in my opinion and hit that like button. Thank you so much. Lolo says, watch band that is allegedly in your opinion, possibly looks like a band. Wow. Okay, let's continue here. It'll play again. Just give it a minute. Okay. Let's stop right there. Let me grab a picture. Let's get it right in here where we get the clearest look. Like, I don't know what that is. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Let's say I have something, I have two things in my hand. Let's say I have a little wallet. Okay, we'll use this as the wallet. And then I don't have anything white, but we'll use this as my Apple Watch, right? He's got two things, and I think he has put one underneath the other, and he's carrying them together. So it's not as noticeable, right? So he's carrying two things. This looks like his billfold to me. This looks like a white watch band. He doesn't have a white watch band. Lindsay has a white watch band. And the Apple Watch was found tucked neatly in her drawer. Not on her. Of course not, right? Now, you could argue that, you know, it's possible when he returned to the home, if he was really the perpetrator, that he just simply, when he went upstairs and unlocked the door and went into the bedroom, that he just placed her Apple Watch back there. Could be, could be. I think he was half mile away typing Christy's phone. 2 different shoes. Not a liar says 2 different shoes. Jojo says they weren't out of the brand Pedialax, another incorrect statement. He also bent down, hiding from the cameras while in the CBC. Yep. He said they were out of the Pedialax, and that's why he called his wife, because he didn't know what else to get. They only make a few brands, but yet when the bag is photographed on the counter at his home and put into evidence, you can see through the bag, and it is indeed Pedialax. All right, so let me know, do you guys think that's a watch or something different? If you think it's a watch, if you think it's a white watch band, put 1. And if you think it's something else, put 2. How can you say they are the same? 2 different shoes. Thank you, Natalie. Looks like a wallet. Yeah, it does look like a wallet on the top. But if you look real close, let's see, right in here, pay close attention. I'm going to go real slow. See how he twists it? So he's twisting his hand right there. And now you're not getting... So as he twists his hand with that billfold on top, let me get that little thing back. There it is. So the billfold's on top. At first, the watch band is turned like full view where you're going to see a circle. But as he turns his hand, pretty soon, the watch, you're going to see it from the linear side, the lean side, which then is only going to be this little part, and he's got the billfold on top. If it's a watch. All right, so 1, you think it's a watch, 2, you don't. Jenny Bill's not sure. She's got a 3. We've got Lolo. Heaven Reigns thinks it's a watch. Rip and Ripper and JoJo think it's a watch. The 2222, I Google a lot. Somewhere I read that his new wife and Patrick were an item in either high school or college, but I can't find anything further. So it's alleged. Right. We do know that it has been verified, if you will, that they were connected before the murders. Not together necessarily, but enough to be social media friends and liking each other's posts. Just saying. Now, he didn't get married till this past year, and some are saying he has a baby on the way. Hi there, boss lady, says undecided. Got it. A lot of you aren't sure. Right. Sandra says not sure. All right, so let's get a little closer and see if this helps us out. It's so hard to tell, but he's definitely got something there. It's so quick, you guys. See how he twists it? So he's turning it down. I'm just going back and forth. To me, it looks like the watch. But I could be wrong. So now let's talk about no Wi-Fi. You don't have to have Wi-Fi to work from home. If our Wi-Fi drops, I might still be able to work because I have an Ethernet directly connected with a landline. So I might be able to work from home. However, my cameras aren't going to work in the home. So the cameras have worked in the home always before. On the outside of the home, they've got cameras, and on the inside, they've got nanny cameras, nanny cams. But the Wi-Fi just mysteriously didn't work that day. Are you kidding me? So let's listen to this. During the trial, several details regarding the home's internet connectivity and the family's smart cameras were brought to light. The nanny cameras were all offline. Testimony confirmed that the home had cameras installed, which Lindsay previously used to monitor the children. However, Patrick Clancy testified that the Wi-Fi was entirely out that day, meaning no footage of the events was captured. How convenient. You feel me? Judith says, my first instinct would be to look out the window before I ran outside. I totally agree with that. Your window's open, the bed's moved, you'd be like, what's out there? Judith, I know we are not talking about this, but when he got home, he said he opened the bedroom door, he seen the window open, and he ran outside to the backyard. Right. And then your first instinct would be to look out the window, right? I'm hung up on the difference in the hair texture versus the 3D photo. Hair texture? I didn't notice that. You can't tell either? Okay, so what do you feel? Coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences. I just don't. Whoops, sorry, wrong screen. And him being an IT guy. It's like the Katie Proudfoot having no working security cameras in her home, and yet she's a security installer. She's an IT security installer. She works for a security company. And then her son disappears, and on the one day that her son disappears, Sebastian Roger just gone, or actually at night. There's no cameras working. Lord help us all. And him being an IT guy, yeah, that is creepy. So Lola is coming up with something here. You guys get me a picture of his best friend. What if we actually have a doppelganger? What if one person went to the CBC and one person went to the restaurant and neither of them changed clothes, but it cinched up an alibi for the husband who really was a runner. He just did that Miracle Marathon. They're so close. If it's from the CBC, it's only 1.3 miles. If his best friend looks so much like him, is it possible that the best friend actually went from, like, was with him or something? Maybe he waited on his friend to get there. And then he went into the CBC, but when he came out, he didn't go back to his car. What if his friend went back to his car and did the whole drive scene or something? I don't know. I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wind, but yeah. No Wi-Fi, so no footage. Doppelgangers? I'm just asking questions. They are being ignored. I know. He didn't have an issue talking to Lindsay at CBC when she called him back. Well, we don't know. Was Lindsay really calling him back? Right? Or something else? So Patrick is missing time. And an email was sent from his house at 5:24. So he was supposed to leave his house at around 5:15, I believe. How did that work, you guys? Did he show up at the CBC at 5:15? Correct me if I'm wrong. But he's supposed to be at the, like, no, because he entered after that. So he leaves allegedly and goes and sits for like 15 minutes in his car before he goes into the pharmacy, the CBC. But while he's sitting in his car, allegedly, at 5:24 from his house, he sends an email. I don't get that. Okay, if we can figure that out, Lola, that would really help. Seeking Justice says, first I've heard of this case tonight. I tossed away the key, in my opinion. strangulation with an exercise band. That's what I'm saying, Susan. How much do these friends look like each other? That's new, right? So yeah, he's supposed to be sitting for 15 minutes in the parking lot. Yet, was he? Because, I mean, he could have made it home, done some stuff, and then come back in 15 minutes. He's only 1.3 miles away. I don't know, was he waiting on his friend to show up so his friend could take over and do the runs and do the CVC thing? Maybe he did the CVC thing, comes out, he's like, thank you, man, you got my back. And then he takes off running. So he switches into his jogging shoes because he ain't going to want to run in his boots, so he can go run. He runs home, does the ugly deed, then runs back and gets his car. I don't know. I'm just suggesting some things here. He had brothers too. Wow, doppelgangers. Oh, good Lord. Riffin Riffer says Patrick Clancy's best friend, Kyle Carney, looks like him, and his new wife looks like Lindsay. What is up with this? Are they clones? That's crazy. I've got to see a picture. I didn't even know that. The CVC is a pharmacy, Miss Bree. A place where you pick up medicine. Miss Bree said, Lindsay said she wanted a lot of kids but Patrick. But did Patrick want the same thing? Yeah, that's I don't know. Okay, so we've got the missing time, right? Now, I went over this. How did he send it an email if there's no Wi-Fi? Well, it could be that the Wi-Fi, as he said, I'm going to give him this one, is spotty. Meaning he could have sent the email out, but the Wi-Fi wasn't working. Then he leaves the house, and while he's gone, the Wi-Fi kicked in, and so then the delayed email would send. You feel me? That I could explain that. Hey, Mystery Diva. Question. Why do unaliving exercise bands not have Lindsay's fingerprints, yet they have Patrick's DNA? That's coming up too. Now, I do want to point out that that's the biggest one for me too. Because we know his DNA would be on them because he removed the bands. Now, hear me out on this. This is kind of a weird way to think, but in true crime, we have to go down some dark alleys in the rabbit holes. But why use multiple exercise bands? If you're done with it over here, why not just bring the same one? And then the next one, why are there multiple bands? And it's been alleged that the baby was in his office, and I'll just say he wasn't laying on the ground. He was, I don't want to be graphic, but he was not laid. That's what allegedly, from everything I'm reading, the baby was as, okay? I hope you're following me without me having to get any more. You think that that's a male method seeking? Design. The store is CVC, and he is not a tech guy. He's a salesperson for Microsoft. Right. He's actually a sales executive for Microsoft. Thank you. Miss Bree says, is it possible for her to unalive all three in that 15 to 20 minute time frame? Miss Bree, even if it's possible, she's got to get her body temperature down to 82 degrees out in the yard too, which takes at least 30 minutes if you have all that damage. Without the damage, it could take hours. And so it's going to take all the time that Lindsay would have to commit this crime, in my opinion. to reduce her body temperature even. It wouldn't leave her time to do anything to the children. And when it's manual choke, that takes time, no matter how you look at it. And it's just so weird that there's a band for each of them, as if it would save time because there's more people committing the crime than just hers or something. I don't know. It's really, really weird. But trial testimony and digital discrepancies. During the trial, several details regarding the home's internet connectivity and the family's smart cameras were brought in light. The defense cross-examination and trial analysis highlighted a discrepancy. While Patrick was away from the home picking up medicine and dinner, an email was sent from his account at 5:24 p.m. that traced back to his home IP address. Okay, let's kick it down a little bit, you guys. Delayed 911 call because Wi-Fi's out? That's bull. We all know, everybody knows, that you can just dial 911 and hit it. You can even bump 911 and you don't even gotta have Wi-Fi. They'll come into the woods. And listen.
I don't know the exact time, but it took a few minutes because my phone was switching between Wi-Fi and 911. So I almost just started calling out for the neighbors, but eventually it went through.
Okay.
No.
You know 911 actually works even if you have no signal. You could be in the middle of the woods. I know this firsthand because my dad accidentally hit the emergency signal in the woods when we had no signal and the phone call went through and the police showed up at the location. So to me, it's very weird that this guy, right, the tech guy, that he keeps saying it goes between the Wi-Fi and the signal. It took a few minutes. Why did it, you know what I mean? Like, did it really take a few minutes, or were you kind of finish it off, making sure that everything was taken care of? Because the more this guy speaks, the email at 5:24 sent from the Surface Pro, it seems to raise more red flags. And that's why people need to be willing to question everything. That's the reason why we have a court, a jury, to go through the evidence, to go through the process, to make sure we don't leave any stones unturned.
So JoJo is right. It's fact. She doesn't need to put in my opinion if she's writing that. JoJo is saying the email was sent at 5:24 through a hardwired Ethernet connection on his Surface Pro laptop. That is true. That is fact. She doesn't need my opinion. My opinion is when you're drawing conclusions, not just stating the facts. Like, now you need to. Now you got to put in my opinion, JoJo. So, just like Nikki's saying, please put in your opinion or allegedly, right? Master manipulators always get someone to do their dirty work and have someone to blame for their wrongdoings. All right, so 911 call, I don't get it. I don't buy it. Doesn't make sense to me. Now this is a weird one. While Patrick is in the pharmacy, no. The restaurant, the 3B restaurant, he takes out his phone from his jacket and the camera is shining down onto his phone. And I wondered, what is he looking at? What is that a picture of? Because I felt funny when I was looking at the picture on the phone. Now I can't make it out perfectly, but somebody else was able to blow it up. And it makes me wonder, is he looking at the home security cameras of the outside of his house in the snow by his porch near his backyard where Lindsay was found while he's at the restaurant? Is he literally checking his home security camera right there on his phone, viewing Lindsay laying in the snow on his home security on his phone? Cameras are not supposed to be working, but all we have for that is Patrick saying that. There's no proof that the Wi-Fi was even spotty. All right, look close, you guys. I don't know. What do you think? Hold on. What
This is actually, I just stumbled upon this post, and if this is
Let me make it
actually
bigger.
Patrick Clancy,
Let me make it bigger for you. First, we got to make it smaller to make it bigger. Okay. There we go. Are you seeing it?
his phone, I think that
Does that not look just like the house with the front porch? So on the left is an evidentiary picture. You can see that downspout, and that's where Lindsay was laying over there on the left. But on the right, this is Patrick at the 3V restaurant when he pulls his phone out and he looks at it. True Seeker says, I have had a problem connecting to 911. I am in a dead zone. Well, he's not in a dead zone, so it should work. Roof and Roofer, how the truth comes out for real, let the right person or person go to prison. I agree with that. Seekin says, in my opinion, it would be him, not a paid hire hit, as a method is personal rage. I agree with that. I do not feel anybody was hired. Judith, that would just be too risky for somebody to talk. And we're talking children, which isn't something somebody's going to be like, yeah, I'll do that for a little bit of money, I don't think. Judith says, if his email was sent at 5:24, that means the Wi-Fi came on the cameras would have come back on. The incident then would have been recorded. You got a good point there. So you can't have it both ways. If he's working off of a landline and you have the Ethernet and it's hardwired, then how did that email, his work email at 5:24, get sent if he's not in the house? Then again, if he's working off of Wi-Fi and he sent an email and the Wi-Fi is down, and then it came back up at 5:24 and would send out the delayed message, we have Judith saying a very good point that then all the nanny cams would be running at 5:24 and have recorded the whole thing, as well as anything going on outside. This is a real humdinger. I'm not sure. Seeking says statistics don't lie. That was an excellent point here. Birdie says, my Wi-Fi has never gone down for a full day. Serious question, does that happen often? Did he call for service? Seeking as he was supposed to be working. And that's the thing, is there was no investigation into this. It was cut and dry. It was Lindsay did it all. So there's no investigation into it as if there was another purpose, possibly. It's just like, OMG. But are you looking at that footage? Let me bring it up even a little bigger. Let me do it this way. Let me see. No. Hold on. We got her head. She's probably like, not my head. Okay. Let me shut that off. Okay, are you looking at that picture on his phone? And are you seeing this downspout right here? And then you look over here and we've got something similar. And you've got the back porch right here, right? And then you have what looks to be like the back porch. Yes, right. Okay. Who did Patrick call and say it's done? Allegedly. I don't know anything about that. Tell me more. I agree. Only the one or whoever did this should be sentenced to life, no more. And it's sad either way. Patrick was never investigated, right, Jackie Smith? JoJo says nanny cameras have Wi-Fi connections. If the Wi-Fi goes down, it automatically will connect to a cell phone data. Wow. Then that doesn't make any sense, because when my Wi-Fi drops, first thing I do is grab my phone, because my phone has phone data. And obviously they've got phone data. They're calling each other. Karen says, I thought Lindsay went to the doctor's that day. She did. Wouldn't she have gotten Mad's prescription for Cora then? You would think so too, wouldn't you? You think it looks... Okay, let me go back so y'all can see. So we're looking at his phone in the CVC. Now, I took it right off the clip that, from trial. So I know it's not an internet clip. I recorded it from the trial. Was she found? No, she was found on the ground by the back porch. Bertie, am I the only one who lollygags in the car? It could definitely take me that long to actually drive a mile from my home. Cora had an appointment the following day. I misunderstood then, because from my understanding, she actually went to the doctor that morning, and that's why they decided to buy the stool softener. And then they painted, and they did artwork, and they built snowmans and all kinds of stuff. Like, it was Lindsay's best day. Lola says Lindsay had an online doctor visit for herself the day before the crimes. I believe that. She had a lot of those online visits, right? So I wanted you to look at that. Now, let's talk about the fall Lindsay had. Okay? Her head's closer to the building, and her feet are further away. She did not have any broken tibia or any femurs broken. All the breaks in her body, none of them were in her arms, her legs, or any of that. It was actually the placement of the spine damage is coming from the top of Lindsay. And her C1 disc is blown. Her C1 spine, part of her spine, which is up in the top, is blown. Which that blowout and the other blowouts do suggest that she was not a jumper. She did not jump from the window, but went head first. Now, let me explain something. Done a lot of these cases. Quite a few of them. From Liam Payne to a lot of them. And the problem is that if the person is conscious, alert, awake, and they go out the window or off the building or off the balcony, however they do it, I don't care. And they're head first, which in Lindsay's case, the proof is in the evidence. She went head first out that window. If she's head first, her head's going to hit, then her feet are going to fall, right? So she's going to do one of these numbers. So let's pretend that this is the feet here. So she's going to come head first, land, and her feet are going to flop down, and that leaves her head closest to the building. She went head first. Her injuries say she went head first. Here's the problem. In my humble opinion, she was not conscious. She was not conscious when Lindsay left the building and landed. She was not conscious. Because the same with Liam Payne and all these people, no matter what, it is instinctual response. Even babies do it. Dogs do it. cats do it. That before you are going to hit impact, you're going to thrust yourself, your hands forward, right, to protect your face. And there's no broken bones. So she did not even flinch. She did not even try to protect herself when she fell. Jojo says if he was an executive salesman for Microsoft working from home, he had to have Ethernet hardwire connection for Microsoft security. Needs hardwired Ethernet, never goes out. Same with me here at the house, but you don't need all caps. We gotcha. Lola says so she would have had to have dived out the window. No way in my bed. Yes. Now there's going to be more. I'm going to show you something that's going to really blow your mind. Okay. When you look at jumpers, they will have pelvic fractures, lower extremity fractures, and rib fractures. Yes, she did have some rib fractures, but she didn't have no leg fractures, and I don't think she had a pelvis fracture. Now, if the person's falling head first, that's when you get skull fractures. She didn't have a skull fracture, but she did have a C1 that's blown. Now, I want you to look at the situation over here where this person jumps and they tuck and roll, usually a jumper will. They usually land on their feet, tuck and roll, and then they have damage, right? But a faller tends to land on their side, their back, or their head. I think she landed on her back. Okay, this is a little graphic here, so trigger warning, I'm showing evidence pictures. We're looking at what they called bloody handprints. I do not think this is a handprint at all. Not in the least. Let me show it to you a little bit close up. See this blood here? Okay. That doesn't look like a handprint. Do you see how that is like this line? Okay, let me get my drawing stick. See this right here? How square this is? To me? That's not a handprint. Her neck was cut right here. Her neck was completely covered in the front with blood. I would have a theory that the window was used as a guillotine. Remember, her thyroid, caging around the thyroid was crushed. That takes blunt force trauma. She could have landed where she landed on her throat, all the way down, and that's where she landed. But the reason that it doesn't break and all this for us is because people tend to put their chin down. There's a lot of protection around that area, so it doesn't happen. It's blunt force sharp, like a quick blunt force trauma, like with an immense amount of force can crush that. So then it came to me. Well, and I'm not the only one. I believe that this was just like when they behead in the olden days when they used to behead the queen. Okay, so let's take this little thing for instance, right? This is our window sill, and this is the ledge, the window itself. If the person's head, where it's been cut and it's all bleedy right here, if their head is hung out the window over the sill, you feel me? And somebody, boom, guillotines the window down, it could crush that whole caging around the thyroid just to ensure that she's DEAD, right? Then push her on through the window. She's going to fall, right? She's going to fall down as you're shoving her over. Her neck is going to be going along that sill and all the way down the building because you're pushing her over the edge and she's falling straight down. She would fall on her head, flip onto her back. You feel me? Yeah, the prosecution, Deanna, went all into how she was hanging from the ledge. And the whole reason that they feel that she lowered herself down and all that is because of this. But that is not a handprint. We've done our research. Y'all, where's my cards? I want to show you something. I want to just show you something. That's what a bloody handprint looks like. It's not square. But your neck, laying over that, if it's covered in blood, would make that, rectangular squareness. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, that's what that is to me, is her neck being put there. She was laying on the ground with her head closest to the building on her back. What position was she in? Yeah. JoJo said it was a 12-foot drop, not a 20-foot drop as originally thought. How could she have that much damage from a 12-foot drop? I'm wondering if the actual damage came because somebody guillotined that window closed and crushed her throat, then flipped her out. And then because she's not conscious, she's not going to put her hands in front, nothing. She's actually going to have to do almost a flip in the air. You know what I'm saying? If the black part's her head, she's going to come down, straight down, and then at the last minute, her feet are going to fall this way. And so her head's going to be on the house, right? Her head's going to be much closer. So in other words, watch it from the angle. If the black part is her hair, right, her head, she would have had to go out the window this way and then feet fall for this to work, from my understanding. Bit a handprint, but the story feels like a reach. Maybe Lisbon, I don't think so. I think I'm on to something, but that seems like a reach. I don't think that's a reach at all. That's how she landed. Her evidence of her injury shows that her upper body is what suffered the brunt of the damage. And so her upper body hit first. There's no denying that. For her upper body to hit, she would have had to go down this way. But when I look at this, that is not a handprint in my opinion. That doesn't even look like a handprint. Looks like the side of a handprint in your opinion? Y'all are seeing something different than I am. Are you realizing that this is this big? Are you realizing it's not like 2 inches? It's actually that large? How wide is your hand? Okay, how come it's not got fingerprint, like finger movements? How come it's so solid? I just don't think it is. Ellen Corley says, when I first heard about this case, my instinct said, nope, she didn't do it. Maybe. I don't know if she did or not, but there's a lot here. So, what was this one? Is this one about? Oh yeah, this is the one. This is showing her damage to her body right here. And you can see C1 burst fracture, right? C1 burst fracture. So let's play this where I did a little bit of research that'll explain that C1 burst fracture and what that means for how she had to come out of that window. So right there, you can see the person saying she had to have been head first. And so when you click their clip, their link, it talks about the Jefferson fracture. Now keep in mind, Lindsay Clancy has had a Jefferson fracture. A Jefferson fracture is the specific type of bone break the burst fracture of the first neck bone, the atlas or C1 vertebrae, which in this case it's a C1. We have it right here that it's a C1. This is right from the trial. These are her injuries. So she definitely took the hit on the head. That's just the way that is. And it talks about usually caused by diving headfirst into shallow water or heavy impact to the top of the head. So my brother-in-law, it didn't burst, thank God, but he had a C1 fracture because he jumped headfirst into a pond and it was shallow. And he hit his head. And when he crushed the top of his head, which it didn't show any damage on his head, but his shock absorption from that impact of hitting solid ground and diving straight down caused that C1 to fracture. And he was in a halo with a broken neck for like months. Okay? So it definitely, that Jefferson fracture absolutely supports that Lindsay would have been head first out that window. Okay? Lindsay says it's not a handprint. We agree, but I don't think the head was chopped in the window like a guillotine. Could have been bleeding before. Not a handprint, but I don't know if that's a reach in my opinion. I'm always on. Well, I'm glad you're always good. And you can say I'm reaching. I don't care. I don't know why you're like everything I'm sharing today is a reach for you, Lisbon, but so be it. But I definitely do not feel I'm reaching in the slightest to suggest that Lindsay came out that window head first. And so if she's head first, she's not crawling out the window. She's not Spider-Man and going to crawl out the window. So I think the prosecution could be easily proven wrong just by going over the fractures that Lindsay has. Unless they hurt her even before it. Yeah, I'm saying she was sliced. And it was all, she ain't even conscious. And they were like, let's just make sure this works. Guillotine, that crushes her neck, probably broke her neck. And now we'll just throw her out there. Because maybe the perpetrator was like, I don't know if this little 12-foot drop is actually going to break her neck. So I'll do this first, right? He'd already tried to cut the artery if it was a he. So I'm thinking that's the way I feel. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Judith says, I agree with you. I so agree with you, Crazy Daisy. Thank you. Lisbon says, that seems wild to accuse someone of. We aren't denying that. But the guillotine is the false information I'm worried about spreading. Okay, I'm not telling you to go spread anything. Good Lord. Is this our Lisbon that always comes in? Because I don't know what the hell's going on. First of all, I'm not trying to spread false information. I've never said that's what happened. I'm saying that's what it looks like to me. Okay? But if you're going to come in, I don't care how long you've been here, and accuse me of spreading misinformation because I'm sharing my hypothesis, then you need to check yourself. Because that's something right with you today. I'm just saying, I'm not. Could she have been thrown out? That's a good question. I'm not even sure if she did it herself. I'm saying there's a lot of things that make me question this. And one of them is, why would she go head first out that window? Most people jump. I'm just saying. Well, that's fine to have your opinion, but don't accuse me of reaching and spreading misinformation. Just state your damn opinion and don't be so derogatory, because that's where I'm having a problem. I mean, I come on here and I share my opinion, right or wrong. Maybe your opinion is right. Maybe my opinion is wrong, but I certainly am not derogatory to you if you share a different opinion. So please be a little nicer. Well, and that's much better to say you don't like the theory. I appreciate that. You can completely say, I disagree with your theory 1,000%. But just don't accuse me of spreading misinformation just because I'm simply sharing my thoughts. I don't like that stuff. No, you're not reaching, you're just investigating. Exactly, Jojo. Thank you. Well, other people are going to clip whatever they want all the time from anywhere, and they're going to misdirect it, misuse it all over the place. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not the one doing that. I've stated always, it's my opinion. Anyway, I'm going to move along because that's just pissing me off, to be honest. I mean, why would I have a platform and not come on and share my opinion? That doesn't make sense, right? Ruffin says, we all have our opinions, Mama D. Any of us could be right. And I will add, I could be 1,000% wrong. I'm good with that. I'm just asking questions. I'm just sharing my opinion. I personally do not believe that that's a handprint. And I don't think that a lot of them actually believe it either. It looks like it's something else. It's a completely rectangle. When have you ever seen a rectangle like have straight lines on a handprint? Go ahead, put paint on your hand and go try to make a rectangle with your hand. Go do that. Let me see it. Boss Lady's like wild case listening. Yes. Investigating is like brainstorming with others. And I thought we all understood that. We all see things differently. Let's be kind. Exactly. Bunny Fur. Also, what doesn't make sense about this is that she is a nurse. If she wanted to harm herself, why throw herself from a window? You would think she would choose another method. Now, I'm not going to be real graphic here. I'm going to explain something else to you. From everything I know and everything that I've understood so far, I got to be careful how I word this. A nurse would know what way to cut to do the most damage, right? A nurse would know. But this Lindsay didn't cut that way. She cut the other way. And she would know. So she'd be left-handed. She'd be jumping from the window, and she'd cut the wrong way, and she'd lay the knife down left-handed. She'd use the knife left-handed, right? It just doesn't make sense. Wayne says, your opinion, Mama D, this is her channel. Yeah, no one is saying anything is our opinion, but Mama D isn't spreading rumors. Exactly. Rumors would be like, if I said, here's some facts for you. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Boss Lady said, did I read somewhere there was a Google search for where is the aorta? Yes. As a nurse, that's Med 101. Why on earth would anybody in the medical field need to Google where's the carotid artery? It wouldn't be a nurse, would it? And it's his email? Just saying. There's a lot of problems here. There's a lot of problems with it. I love you, Lisbon. I think I'm just having an off day. I took it wrong. I love you to pieces. I took it wrong, but I'm not spreading rumors. You know me better than that. That's one of the things I don't do. I just share opinions, and y'all have different opinions than me, and I respect them. Mystery Diva says, most women that want to unalive use PILs, especially a nurse, right? And I'm not trying to mean this as a pun, but it's kind of overkill to do the pills and crush them up, and then also make some cuts that aren't even correct, and you're medically trained. You know better that if it's for real and you're wanting done, you're going to make a certain cut on this area. And then to jump out the window. Oh my golly. That's why you're saying Bunny Fur suspicious? Yeah. Have they taken DNA from the blood found on the window? Nope. Nope, they did not, because they are not investigating the homicide that way. They're only investigating if she was sane or not. It's driving me crazy. Patrick has law enforcement in his family, allegedly. I heard that too. Lola says, bingo. Mystery says, exactly. Bunny Purr says, anyhow, love your channel. I never think you're spreading misinformation. You make it crystal clear you aren't. That's right. That's right. Deanna Yorkie Mama, I wouldn't have to search for where the artery. Me either. I'm a med tech. As a med tech, we know. As a nurse, you're going to know. There's no reason for her to be searching any of that. Wayne says, nurse or doctor would already know, so that seems strange. You guys have hit it. I'm allowed to have an opinion. I shouldn't be targeted because I don't. Okay. Lisbon, you've seen clips shaming me? Then you're visiting the wrong people. Because honestly, the only ones that have been doing that are Crispy and Leggy. Furthermore, don't worry about me. I'm going to do my channel my way. I'm going to state my opinion as always, and you don't need to protect me. But you also accuse me of spreading misinformation and continue to tell me I'm reaching. So sorry if I felt targeted and defended myself, and now you're switching it up saying I targeted you. No, ma'am. You started this. You started it, not me. So check yourself. I'm just done with the argument. Go rewatch it and see who started it. Who targeted who? I was kindly reading your comments when you began to accuse me of spreading misinformation, telling me I'm reaching, it's such a stretch. That's your opinion. But don't tell me I'm spreading misinformation and not expect me to defend myself. Well, let's move along. I mean, I'm being a little bit Nancy Grace here. I'm just calling it like it is, laying it out. But you're dragging it on. So I'm just done with it. Let's get back into this. So the C1 is burst. In that C1 burst, that is a direct hit to the top of the head where it crunches that and bursts it. Or it's a direct hit from the back of the head. But it's a head injury, a neck injury. And that's where the brunt of all Lindsay Clancy's injuries are. It's in her spine area, in the top part. It's not on her hands. It's not on her arms. It's not on her feet or her legs. So it's suggesting that she was head first out that window. And she's not crawling out that window head first. She's not Spider-Man. So in that, you have to wonder is if she's going down much slower because somebody's lowering her to a certain point to where they can let go. That would have been also the same way to get blood all over the side of the building as well. Lisbon, bite my ass. Tell me to chill. I'm getting wild lately. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Obviously, you don't. Don't. Jojo, it's already verified. It was PC doing the Googling, Patrick Clancy, with all this stuff verified by forensic analysis. So, you've got a husband, an ex-husband, that's Googling this stuff all the way back to August, 6-7 months prior to literally it becoming real. Right? Her carotid artery was almost clipped. It was just away. I don't know, y'all. I appreciate you, Lola. This one says, anyone watching this trial, I need to vent about the hypothermia timeline. All right, so let's talk about the hypothermia. It's going to take no less than 30 minutes for her body to drop in that temperature. He's not even gone but 30 minutes. So where's all the extra time that she took her kids out? She doesn't have enough scientific time to complete 3 strangles and go up, move her bed, cut herself, put herself in that position and go out the window and then lay there for the 30 minutes for her body temperature to cool off enough to be 82 degrees. Here's the biggest catch of all. Everybody is like Googling the hell out of if your thyroid cage system there, your throat area there where the thyroid is crushed, if that happens, are you able to talk? And the answer is yes. However, guess what you can't do? Guess when you can't talk? When your core temperature drops that low, you don't have the ability to control your mouth. Okay? Her core temperature is 82. Let's go over here. Her core body temperature is 82 point something. Let me see what it was. 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Grab a drink. If this woman's body temperature is 82 degrees, guess what you can't do? You can't talk. The core body temperature of 82 degrees, a person cannot speak because they are in a state of severe, life-threatening hypothermia where consciousness is typically lost. We know they've already said she was in and out of consciousness and she wasn't coherent enough to communicate to them. Because when your body is 82 degrees, you lose the ability to have speech. So I was ice fishing and I fell through the ice and I was in there for a few minutes, literally for a few minutes. And I began to suffer hypothermia trying to get out. The ice cracked. I was only this deep in water. So I was able to stand on my tiptoes and keep my chin above to where the ice was. It was a thin layer of ice over there. So I was able to break the ice and keep going till I got out. So I spent about 4 minutes in absolutely freezing temperature. The number one thing I could not do is yell out. I could not. I was so brain foggy. My core temperature had already dropped so drastically, nowhere near 82 degrees. We're talking about 95, 96 degrees for my core temperature. I lost my ability for speech. I could moan. I could sound incoherent, but I certainly didn't have a thought process going through because I was frozen. Now they heated me back up and I was fine. But the one thing that, according to everything I've researched, is if your core temperature is 82 degrees, you are not going to be talking. And he said that she talked to him and him alone. That she said she made a full confession that she tried to do this to herself. And then when he asked where the children were, she said, in the basement. I do not believe that's possible. You see, Patrick Clancy also was having an affair with RD Rachel in New York. We don't know for sure, but they did know each other. They did know each other. Rip and Ripper says Lindsay Clancy suffered I have such a hard time with this. A thoracic spine injury. Medical scans and physician testimony from her trial show she sustained several fractures and the spinal cord damage in the thoracic region of her back. Well, and I showed you right here. This is everything that was wrong with Lindsay right here. This is from her own court papers. She had a C1 burst. She had a bilateral non-displacement C4, T5-6. She had a T4 spinal issue there. She had an LT6-8. She had an LT7-8. These are all vertebrae, right? She had all kinds of problems here. But it starts with the top and it moves its way down the spine. She doesn't have leg fractures where she landed on her legs first, or foot fractures where she landed on her foot fractures. She's got spine areas, right? Hey, Jackie Holomomedy on catch up, starting at the start. Well, great to see you. I'm unable to pass go that much. I know. What? Kieran says, I do not think this is a handprint on the window. The blood appears to be in the wrong place if the window was used as a guillotine. Good point. Maybe she was strangled, but why did PC go to the bee garden? That's a good question, too. Jojo says, but PC said LC was talking, saying she tried to commit, and also told him because PC is a couple. Oh, how? You ain't going to be talking at 82 degrees body temperature. You ain't going to be talking because you don't have control of your body at 82 degrees. You just don't. And so for me, here's the problem. If you're at 82 degrees and you can't talk, so she can't physically talk, let's listen to this real quick. Hold on.
Was she able to speak to you?
She wasn't, no.
Was she making any sounds?
She was just, like, sounded like she was in pain.
So something like moaning or something like that?
Yes.
She said I tried to kill myself.
You indicated that she was somewhat unresponsive, but her eyes were open. She was nonverbal, correct?
Correct. Did you ask her anything else?
I said, where are the kids?
And what was her response?
She said they're in the basement.
There's no way.
Was she able to speak to you?
There is no way. 82 degrees, you ain't going to be talking.
Was she able to speak to you?
Even if all the injuries she had allowed her to talk, at 82 degrees, you no longer, and it's not even just 82, it's much higher. We're talking 87, 88 degrees. You ain't going to be talking. There's just no way. Kathy says, can someone tell me what the temperature was outside that night specific? I had it and I forgot. It was in the teens. In the teens, I believe. Danny said, be glad when I get to the house myself tomorrow. For Court and Ellie, she was not talking. Who got the GoFundMe? Well, now her parents have started a GoFundMe to be able to help them to continue to support Lindsay by being there in the trial and watching it. And they're saying, no, this isn't to support Lindsay. It's to support the parents to be able to go there. So that's up to yours. Boss lady, right. A nurse would know to slice vertically, not horizontally. I mean, really. And they would never need to go Google no carotid artery crap. Right? Kathy, I'm not sure, but they built a pretty good sized snowman. Boss lady, so many questions and that things that I feel off. Right? All right. Okay, you guys. So I'm going to, we are super, ran really, really late, and we still have 2 lives to go. So we'll give it a few minutes. We'll start the next live in about 5, maybe 3, 4 minutes. But I'm going to pull some cards, see what's going on with that. Oh, welcome back, Chinnyville. There seems to be questions at every corner of what's going on with this case. Patrick claims, according to Mystery Diva, Lindsay confessed to unaliving herself and the kids. I call bull crap. Me too. The PC compulsive liar. Yeah, that's how I feel too. But they're 82-degree body temperature. Why aren't any of these paramedics talking about that, saying she couldn't have talked? She wouldn't even have control to be able to talk. There's no way she would be able to even consciously be able to tell what you were asking her. Because her body is in survival mode and her body is shutting down. It's in life-preserving measures. It's all my opinion. But take it for that. Take it with a grain of salt. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I'm absolutely full of it, that Lindsay did it no matter what. No matter what I show to you, it's always Lindsay. That's fine too. I beg you, please be respectful. Please don't accuse me of spreading rumors because I'm just simply doing my thing on my channel that I always do, which is digging deep. And where I don't like what's going on because it doesn't feel right, I dig in deep to do the research to find out, is that even possible? Could she have really told Patrick, hey, the kids are in the basement? I don't think so. Let me know if you feel differently. All right, my lovelies, with that being said, let me scroll back up here. We're going to jump over. There'll be a few minute wait, and then we'll jump back in, and I greatly appreciate every single one of you. See you soon.
From the dust I was born, to the dirt I shall return. When my eyes are closed, in the shadows, my enemies will think they won.